Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, this is the Ramsey Show. It's where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money and your mental and relational health and your work. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. John Deloney. The phone number to jump in today is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. It's a free call. And as always, here on the Ramsey Show, we're going to talk about your money. But it's always fun when the good doctor and I can get together. We're coming off of 2 nights in Phoenix, Arizona, where John and I spent 45 minutes each night with the audience at Building Wealth. And John, we were talking about anxiety and stress in two major areas of our lives, the two most important areas of our lives, relationships and work.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun. And we didn't do much talking. We did a lot of listening and answering of questions as men and women stood up in the aisles and just asked question after question. And so today, I would just tell you, while John and I are here, we love to combine and talk about specifically if in your work life things are really awful. I can tell you, you're dragging that stuff home with you. You really are, and it is having a profound impact on your relationships. So John and I want to team up and talk about the relationships, the mental health, the anxiety side of things in your personal life and in your professional life. That's our particular areas of focus, and of course we'll answer your money questions. So hey, it's a free phone call. So there you go. Jump in. Let's go to Catherine, who starts us off this hour in Spokane, Washington. Catherine, how can we help?
Hello. I am very nervous. My question is actually about being sued by collections. And it's on behalf of my 76-year-old mom. My 91-year-old father was victim of a phone scam. They charged him $10,000 to consolidate his credit card debt, but it was a scam company. We found out about it right away, contacted his credit card to let them know it was a scam. They didn't do anything about it. They left the charges on his credit card, and it went to collections. Right after that, they weren't ready to let go of their home phone, so it was forwarded to my cell phone so that he would not fall for any more scams. I have not received any collection calls on their behalf, but now my mom is being sued by collections for $25,000. $15,000 of that was their debt, but $10,000 of that is this scam. So she's going to have to go to court, and I am wondering, well, how I can help, because I intended to try to settle with collections on their behalf. They did give us power of attorney. My brother is there kind of helping them out. But what do you do when you are being sued and not all of the money is legitimate money that they spent?
Did you guys ever file a dispute of charges, like a formal dispute?
Yes.
And they just didn't respond to that?
They
deny it?
They stood by that, because my 91-year-old father, gave these people his credit card information, then that was a legitimate spending of the money. Even though it was a scam company, they had no intention of ever helping him out of credit card debt.
Okay.
What kind of documentation do you have on the scam company that can you prove to a lawyer, if you were standing in front of a judge or standing in front of John and I, could you prove that that was an actual scam company? They don't provide what they charged your grandfather for?
It's my dad, but yeah.
I'm sorry, your dad. Yeah.
We got a letter from some random firm in New York, some lawyer. It was just a front situation, but they never provided him any services, and they just fell off the face of the earth, did not reply to the credit card company's attempts to get the money back or anything like that.
Do you have an attorney currently, you and your brother, on behalf of your parents?
We do not.
You get a really good one.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a pretty slam and dunk case, but I'm no lawyer. But if I were in your shoes, I would be fighting this. The credit card company, they're not playing ball. They're not playing nice, and they're not going to. And so you're going to have to prove this. You're being sued, so you might as well play ball and win.
What do you have in cash, or your parents have in cash, that if you were going to settle this, they could write a check for and be done with it?
So my brother is currently living with them, helping them out. I live across the country from them. Mm-hmm. So there's limited things I can do. I'm willing to be on the phone for them. But
I mean, if a
settlement came up, he could do it.
Do what?
He could do it. I said if we could negotiate a settlement, not including that $10,000, we could come up with the money.
But that's what I'm asking is, if you get an attorney that's going to reach out and first they're writing you a suit letter, right, which is usually threat number one. It's just they sold this debt to somebody that has a front, and they're just trying to shake down your parents, right? Some of it they're shaking down for they want their money back, and that's fair, and you've said that, right? The other is they just wrote off, they sold your bad debt without explaining it to the person they sold it to that this is no good, right? So I would come up with a number that you could give an attorney and say, we've got $7,500. We got $10,000 right now that we need this settled, and we disputed this claim on this date, and you're going to have to, like Ken said, you're going to be very specific. Here's when we called and made the complaint. Here's when we received the rejection. I have all your ducks in a row, and I think we're at a point now where we're going to call an attorney that would help us navigate this. Yeah. And hopefully you can have cash and say, we're going to settle it for this. We want to walk away from all this. And your dad's 91. Who cares about his credit at this point? We're going to settle this thing and be done with it.
Yeah.
I guess then my follow-up question, because like I said, I haven't gotten any communication from them, and I have their phone number, is that, say my mom goes to court and they make a judgment against them, at that point, like, we can't negotiate anymore, correct? And
well, if they make a judgment and then the judge says this is what the payment's going to be, it will never get to court. If you get a lawyer, they will settle out. They're never going to go to trial. Okay, the chances of that happening are so small. If you did, the judge has the ability to say, this is what she actually owes. Here's the gavel, right? But I wouldn't lose sleep over that yet. I would get an attorney that's going to walk alongside you through this process.
Yeah. Thank you for the call, Catherine. It's going to be okay. I'd get a bulldog attorney, and I'd interview 2 or 3. Don't go with the first one who seems the baddest, toughest. Make sure you feel good about it, get a good idea of what you think the steps are, and then fight this thing. You've got the evidence. Thank you for the call. Don't move. More Ramsey Show right around the corner.
I say it all the time. If you're a business owner and you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And when markets are shifting, it's even more important. You've got to know where you stand so you make your next move the right move. And you don't have to be in the dark here. Over 31,000 businesses, including my team at Ramsey, know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, planning, budgeting, and inventory so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Having everything in one place has saved my team hours each week since we made the switch to NetSuite. NetSuite is a game changer. So head on over to netsuite.com/Ramsey to get a product tour today. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back, America. You are joining the conversation here on The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Delaney. We are Ramsey personalities, and we are your co-hosts for this hour. It is a free phone call. Jump in at 888-825-5225. That is 888-825-5225. Have you ever wanted to hear the most popular calls from The Ramsey Show? Or do you love a good Dave rant? If you want to listen to our take on current events, maybe you just want to watch some of the best debt-free screams that people love. We've got a new limited series titled The Best of The Ramsey Show, where you get all of those things I listed plus more. We also hit the current real estate market, investing, and how to take control of your life and money in these wacky times. You can find these special episodes on the Ramsey Show YouTube channel or on Spotify. Just search The Best of the Ramsey Show. Check out The Best of the Ramsey Show on YouTube or Spotify. All right, let's get back to the phones. Tina is next in Dallas, Texas. Tina, how can we help?
Hi.
Hi, Tina.
I have a question for you.
All right.
I'm kind of in a dilemma. I am a traveling nurse, and finding housing, especially when you have a dog, is horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm considering getting an RV or a motorhome, some of that sort, so I can just take it wherever I go, have my home with me. But my dilemma is I'm selling a house right now. I'm selling it for around $230,000. I figure if I get a motorhome for $70,000 or less, I'd only have $140,000 left to put down on another home. So that's kind of keeping me from doing it. And I think that's it.
Okay, so let's just back up
I don't know
here.
if it's a good chance.
Yeah, let's go through these numbers. So you have currently listed your house.
Yes.
And you expect to get how much for it?
About $230,000.
Okay, and how much do you owe on it?
Nothing.
Oh, nothing. So you're going to come into cash. So $230 minus your realtor fees.
Yes.
And
well, no, $230,000 is actually after all the fees are taken out.
Okay, $230,000 would be your net. Great. How long do you plan to keep traveling as a traveling nurse?
At least 2 years.
2 years. And it's just you and the dog?
Yes.
What's the dog's name? I feel like we need to know the dog's name.
Tuxedo.
Tuxedo. That's that's a great dog. Okay, so it's just you and Tuxedo. Now, if
And
I
he's
heard
a corregidor.
What's that?
He's a corregidor.
Okay, fantastic. So how big
I literally have no idea what that
Me
means.
either. I just went with it.
Good. You're a better person than me.
Yeah. How big of an RV? Because I thought I heard you say something like a $70,000 RV. Did I hear you say that?
Well, I was looking last night online, and I was looking at a Class C motorhome, and they go from.
How big is a Class C?
I found some for $50,000 to $70,000 is kind of the range.
How big is that?
Around 30 feet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Do you have a
and
Class C license?
No, you don't need a license.
No, you don't.
A license for that.
But you don't need a RV that big, is my point. Here's why I'm going this route. It's just you and Tuxedo. And
I know, yeah.
I get it. I get that you don't want to have to worry about taking care of him, and so I guess you'd leave him in the RV when you're working. Is that the idea?
Or get a little fenced yard and put him in, yeah.
Okay. So I just normally we don't recommend that somebody buy an RV unless it comes down to the amount of cash that you have and you have no debt and it's a small portion of your income. But in your case as a traveling nurse, I get it. And you've got the cash. I just think that I'd be looking at a much smaller RV that's way less money is where I'm headed. Do you have any other debt?
No.
Yeah.
I'm totally debt free.
I just think.
Even my car.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to do this for 2 more years. This RV is going to continue to lose its value. So for a 2-year short-term play, and it sounds like the way you presented on the phone call, it was really about Tuxedo. We want to make sure that I'm not having to dog sit him everywhere I go and find. I get that. So I would just do a much smaller, much cheaper RV. And now you've got a whole lot more money. But $70,000 for you and Tuxedo, it just seems a little much.
Or if you do the math on that, it's $2,900 a month in rent. Could you not find a place for cheaper than that wherever you go?
Oh, wow.
Like $70,000 against 24 months.
Yeah,
is 29. It's almost $3,000 a month in rent. What are you doing?
It's just too much.
For depreciating asset. Now, you could sell some of it when you sold it, right? But you're talking about oil changes and headaches and all the stuff, right? There's something else at play here. What is it? Do you have $230,000 burn a hole in your pocket, or are you just tired? You don't want to be an apartment dweller? Like, what is it?
No, it's just getting into people's homes and living in their spare bedroom, and everybody wants to overcharge what their home is actually, or the bedroom is actually worth. Right now, I'm in a very tiny little room for me and Tuxedo bedroom, and we got a little tiny private bath in these people's home, and the people are super nice. But I'm paying $900.
Oh, for how much? A week? A month? What are we talking about?
A month.
A month.
A month.
Yeah, but you're making really good money as a travel nurse.
Yes, but people got to remember. I mean, I'm not in that position, but other people.
I get it. Listen,
they've got a apartment somewhere where they,
Sure.
I
like your idea. I like your idea. John and I are challenging the cost. I would spend half of that. This is a 2-year short-term play. But I just want to be honest with you. The tiny room and the tiny bathroom you have at other people's houses, there's going to be a tiny space in that truck.
It's going to be a little RV. And your picture is coming straight.
My room.
It's going to be straight off of HGTV, where there's this picturesque background, and there's a motorhome parked there in a fenced-in yard. Have you ever been to a temporary RV park?
I traveled once before, and I had an RV at that time.
Okay.
And
How
you
was
loved it?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Well, then go for it.
I say go for it. I'm just challenging the 70,000.
Yeah.
I don't think it's why. If you were my sister, my friend, you're my new friend, I would say 70,000. No. Let's see if we can find a decent used RV in the $35,000 range, or 30,000.
Okay.
I don't even know. I don't even know the prices of RVs these days, John. But I just think it's too much to go for 70,000. I think it's going to end up hurting you.
Well, that was a high point. That was a high side.
I know, which is why I'm saying, hey, slow your roll a little bit. Okay,
let me ask you this, Tina. You've done this before. You've lived this life. Why are you asking us?
Because I'm scared to take that money from the house, because someday I want to buy another house and I want to have that down payment. I love having I just moved from another state and or from another house into a house, and I was able to pay cash for that house when I moved in.
There you go. So here's the deal. You're
it was great.
You are very smart, and you've got lived experience. Trust your body, and your body's telling you this is a lot of money, especially for what our long-term goals are going to be. Trust yourself. You're smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
All we did was confirm what John's saying. Your body told you.
Yeah, you don't need two knuckleheads on the radio to tell you that you're smart and that you're worth listening to.
1.5 knuckle.
1.5. There you go.
Come on, John.
Is that fair?
You got this. Tina, just be smart. This is a 2-year play. You're crushing it as a travel nurse. John, these travel nurses are still at a premium, and she's making really, really good money. Right. And this is a 2-year play, folks. Anytime you're in a temporary play, and you got a chance to make really good money, but you're going to be transit like this, keep your expenses super, super low so that when you come out of this transient season, now you can really put down roots, and she's going to have a lot of money. I wouldn't spend more than $30, $35.
No, and always remember the situation you find yourself in that you're not happy. Don't overdo it to rocket propel yourself, if you will, out of that situation. Here's what I mean by that. She's paying $900 a month in a tiny situation. It's not great. It's not fitting her lifestyle. It's not fitting what she wants. Wonderful. $3,000 on the other side of that is a lot, right? Can we find $1,500? Can we find $2,000, right? Is there a middle ground there? And I'm the worst about, I don't like this little car, so I'm going to buy the biggest truck, and then I end up doing something stupid on the other end of it. Find some compromise and listen to your body.
Yeah.
It usually tells you the truth.
By the way, Tuxedo doesn't care.
Tuxedo could care less.
He doesn't care. He just wants a rub on the head when she gets off her shift, and he wants his little snack. Wants to run around and chase the ball. He doesn't care where he sleeps. All right, folks, there you go. We're going to continue to take your calls. He is Dr. John Deloney. I'm Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
The Ramsey Show is here for you. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney joins me in studio. We're here for you this hour. We have our own shows on the Ramsey Network, and obviously we always enjoy co-hosting the Ramsey Show, whether it's with Dave Ramsey or with each other or other colleagues. And I just want to point out that today may be the day for some of you to get a little breakthrough. You're burned out right now. You're an absolute zombie. John Deloney's here to talk about the mental and the emotional effects of that. I'm here to talk to you about what you can and can't do in the office and what's the exit strategy to get out of that. So if you're feeling a ton of stress, you're bored out of your skull, you feel no meaning for your work, that's all real and it causes burnout. And John and I can tag team on that. So we're just letting you know we're going to open up the lines for those calls as well. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. John, here's what I know. I could be absolutely my dream job. I mean, absolutely right square in the middle of it. And if my personal life is falling apart, I'm not going to be a good worker.
That's exactly right. And vice versa, right?
And then the flip side.
My marriage is just doing great, and I feel it's one of those rare weeks I feel like a great dad.
What? Yeah.
And work is tough.
And I'm getting overlooked.
It bleeds all over the house.
I'm dragging that home, and I'm going to start ruining my marriage.
That's right.
So John and I love to do that. In fact, we were in Phoenix the other night, and we literally just did. You said, "Hey, we're going to do the John Deloney Show and the Ken Coleman Show. Here we go." And so
it was pretty powerful.
It was fun stuff. Yeah. Let's get real. If you want to jump in on those type of calls, let's do it. But I want to get your take on something. This is kind of exciting, John.
Okay.
All right. I covered this recently on the Ken Coleman Show, and this is what's going on in corporate America. And it just happens, John, that this example comes from the largest company in the world, or one of them. Okay, how about that?
Awesome.
Have you heard of the company called Amazon, John?
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Apparently, they ship you anything you want.
Is it I thought it was like a river cleanup company.
No.
Okay.
They got all the products and all the stuff. Anyway, here's the deal. This is from Vox, a recent article, John. Amazon is facing a looming crisis. They could run out of people to hire in their U.S. warehouses by 2024. This is according to a leaked internal research project from Amazon. This is middle of last year. The leaked findings also serve as a potential cautionary tale for other employers who are trying to do the churn and burn metrics. We don't care if you got to go potty. You got to stand there and get the package filled in 3 minutes or less. Amazon rules. A lot of companies are trying to emulate them because the stock price is obviously there. Well, the rest of the story is they're churning through people at an alarming rate. And the point is, this internal study was to highlight, hey, we're burning through people so quickly, we're going to run out of that demographic that we need in the warehouse. So this is a real crisis. Now, this is what I want you to comment on.
Hey, can we just, real quick before we get there?
Yeah.
Think of this sentence. It could run out of people to hire in its U.S. warehouses by 2024. My first initial thought is, well, if your place was worth working at, you wouldn't.
Well, you're exactly right.
That's my first.
Yeah.
What do you mean we're going to run out? You mean you're going to run out of people who are going to take your crap?
That's exactly right.
And live substandard and be treated terribly? Then that's like your wife's going to quit going out with you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
not a her issue.
Yeah,
it's because I'm not worth going out with.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, and so that's why this is a crisis. All right, now this is their response to this. So Amazon spokespeople said the company will count on natural attrition rates to solve their current overstaffing problem. Now, I want to break that down because there's a lot of big words there, attrition, overstaffing. So here's what that means, folks. Listen to this. Amazon overhired during 2021. Obviously, people were spending money like crazy. Now we're starting to see consumer spending slow down a little bit. So they've got too many people. So instead of treating those folks with dignity and say, hey, we overstaffed, we're in a downturn, and you're part of a layoff, this sucks, like normal companies would do.
Right.
They're saying, no, we're going to let our normal burn rate, which means burning through people, burning them out to the point where they go, screw this, I can't do it anymore, I quit. That's how they're going to downsize their employee group.
Or taking 800 of them and putting them in a room and saying, look, we particularly need help in Phoenix, and so we're offering this bonus to move people to Phoenix. We're offering this bonus to move people to fill in the blank here, right? But no, we're going to turn the oxygen down and let those of you who pass out and don't make it.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Solve our problems.
So, and this is on the heels of Bezos earlier this year. Jeff Bezos saying we want to be the #1 company to work at in the world, and their internal memo is going, "Hey, hello,
we're about to run out of people.
We're going to screw ourselves by burning through people too quickly." And they look at their current thing and they go, "That's fine. We'll just burn people out." Now, this is the other thing, John, that I want you to comment on. So, I want you to that view of people. Right. I'm just curious your take, coming from the world you come from. When leaders view people as just this, I don't even know if you can view people as assets, and then they have more workplace injuries than any other company by miles. They've led the country in injury incidents, largely in warehouses. The pressure on the warehouse worker from the time that John Delaney orders something from your house in Fairview to the time it goes to whatever warehouse, how quickly it has to be filled, and they don't let people take breaks. I mean, it is close to really unhealthy, unsafe conditions because they're burning through people. What's going on in a company like that, and how do they look at people for real, not what they tell us?
Yeah, so I think first there's a disconnect between the lived lives of your employees and that spreadsheet that's telling you you're doing a good job. And that's always a recipe for short-term gain, long-term fall off a cliff. Right? The more you focus on how happy am I right now, I'm just going to keep eating Twinkies. I'm going to keep not exercising. I'm going to watch another movie. I'm going to do this. You're going to feel good for a while. You are. And you're going to wake up and you're going to be way overweight and you're going to feel awful and your friends will have left you and you're going to wake up in ashes. And this tells me that this is a company that has gotten, like you said it best, really excited by the applause at the shareholder meeting. And they have forgotten that there is a whole bunch of people responsible for that applause. And at some point, they cross paths, right? And, I mean, this is just a control burn that's left the control burn area, and it's heading off to set the wilderness on fire.
Here's the deal, folks.
It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, the reason we share this is because you got Amazon workers who will put up with this for a while, then they leave. And you don't have to put up with this. You don't have to put up with this stuff, and when you're in an organization that will not value people, they value process over people, I've got news for you. They're not going to change. They will just keep going until it's too late. And this, by the way, is how the mighty fall.
Oh, absolutely.
And I am in no way predicting Amazon's demise, but I'm telling you, that's a 4-alarm warning right there. Correct. Coming from an internal memo. Right. And the fact is they're treating people like absolute garbage. I reported yesterday on the Ken Coleman Show, there's a company a $15 billion company that does food orders. And they've hired Amazon execs who've come in and changed it. And you ready for this? They got disciplined. One of the warehouse managers got disciplined because the evening before, a package was not packed in 3 minutes. Because the employee went to the bathroom for a few minutes. I read the email on the show. The higher up comes in the next day and sends an email and says, what are we going to do about this? How do we anticipate this? Gee, I don't know. How do we anticipate when one of our people has to go poo-poo?
Less water, right?
How do we walk around going, what'd you have for lunch today?
Exactly.
You ate Mexican. Was it a burrito? Are you feeling gassy?
That's right.
Do you think you have to go poo-poo later today? And when you go, how long are you going to go for?
There's just going to be somebody knocking on the door on the outside.
Yeah.
You're done.
Come on, Richard. I mean, what are we doing here?
Right.
But it is that type of monitoring in the name of efficiency.
Right.
It's become nannyship, John, not leadership.
Yeah.
Nannyship.
Yeah.
I mean, we monitored our kids when they were little, right? When it was nap time. Oh, look at Ty. He's not going to sleep.
But look at what's happened with the kids. It's helicopter parenting, except it's helicopter bossing.
That's it.
And look, we've destroyed a generation of human being by helicopter parenting.
It's the truth.
And we're doing it to our workers.
And that's the reason you saw this turnover.
Get people to buy into your mission.
Come on.
And let them feel valued.
Yes.
Like they're contributing to the society at large. and then you'll have a hard time, getting rid of them.
Yeah.
They'll stay forever.
Yeah, to all the Amazon execs, why don't you try loving your people?
Jeez.
Why don't you try loving them?
Oh, Ken, you're so dumb. You don't know.
I know.
Oh, you're a softie.
Oh, my gosh.
This gives me gas.
Can't go to the bathroom. Oh, hey, you only have 2 minutes. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show. The Ramsey Show continues. I'm Ken Coleman. John Deloney joins me this hour, and we're here for you. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225, taking your money questions, taking your mental health and relationship questions, taking your work and burnout questions. We're here for you. We want you to win in your life. Let's go to Silva in Houston, Texas. Silva, how can we help?
Hey guys, thank you for the time. I have called a few times, so it's a pleasure to do so again.
Great. How can we help today?
Yes, sir. So the question is, I have a wonderful career. My wife does too. We both are completely debt-free, and we are wondering if it would be a bad idea to quit our jobs to pursue this business idea that we have. Yeah, that's it. That's the question.
Okay. So you guys have any debt?
No, we don't.
No debt. Okay.
We have nothing. Yeah.
What kind of emergency fund do you have?
We have $20,000, which translates to about 6 months, and we have $30,000 outside of that we currently have invested in relatively safe investments.
Okay.
I happen to be a
what's your joint
banker for where I work. So
okay, great. And what's your joint income?
Joint income before taxes is just under 110.
Okay. What's the business?
Yeah, you said you had an idea.
Yeah. Does it mean it hasn't launched? So what is the idea?
Well, maybe I misspoke, but it's not an idea. I actually already have it registered through the state of Texas, and it is to do DIY furniture. It's the foot furniture, pottery, paintings. Think of it like it's like a new home goods store. It's a brand that we're wanting to build, and via that brand incorporate handmade items such as DIY furniture, custom furniture, plates, pottery, paint, anything you would have used for decoration.
Got it. And so what's your revenues right now, and where and how are you selling those? And what I mean by that last question is it all online? Or are you doing some pop-up shops in the area? I mean, how are you doing this now, and what's the revenue?
Currently, we have nothing. We haven't started making any income. Right now, we're still in the beginning stages of building the brand and creating the online presence, getting in contact with local farmers markets and other avenues that we can use here in person to eventually sell these things. So we don't have anything.
Okay, I got good news and bad news. Okay. The good news is you got an idea. You guys have put a lot of effort into it. Sounds like you guys are in agreement as a couple. We want to do this. That's the great news. The bad news is you're not going to be able to quit your job anytime soon. And I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm not trying to be in any way a discouragement to you. I'm telling you that my guess is a 3 to 5 year play. Because my advice is that we don't want to touch that emergency fund. So the emergency fund is an emergency fund. Now, the $30,000 cash that you have saved over and above the emergency fund, I like that, and I'd like to add to that. But I'd want you two to start doing this. So let's just start making some chairs, rocking chairs, or start whatever, and let's start selling it locally at farmers markets or flea markets or antique places, and get a booth, and let's just prove the actual product. I love that you're thinking about brand, but the reality is I think you've got the cart before the horse here. I want to prove that we can actually sell furniture and decor and things of that nature. And so let's say that we start out in our first month, we do it on the side, and you two sit down, and I'm making this up because this is the mental process I want you to think through. So how many hours a week, you don't have to answer this, but how many hours a week can we, you and the wife, put towards this business. And let's just say it's 20 hours for sake of conversation. All right, so we're going to spend that 20 hours around just making and selling. And let's prove that. And let's say we make $2,000 the first month. Again, I'm making all this up. The $2,000 goes right into ABC bank account, whatever your brand name is, whatever your company is. And we're going to build up. And it may take you 2 years. Maybe you go nuts. Maybe in a year's time, you guys can put your $100,000 of joint income in the furniture decor bank account. For anybody to leave a stable job and go full-time into a business, I want you to have at least 6 months of your income in the bank. And that would be the soonest that I would make the move to quit your jobs and go full-time into that business. Just trying to keep it simple. I'll stop there. I hit you with a lot. Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
It does. It does make sense. You're just allowing me to prepare for the worst and take it with logic rather than with the dream idea. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I would even say this. It's not that we're preparing for the worst. It's just we want to put ourselves in there's no reason for you to assume a lot of risk with this business. There really isn't.
Understood.
Well, Silva, stay on the line here because I'm going to ask Ken a question on your behalf. Is that cool?
Please, absolutely.
Ken, this sounds like somebody who is more interested in the idea of having a business than he is in the actual business itself. Here's why I'm asking, and you take these calls all the time on your show, and so I may be out to lunch here. I've got friends who do their day job, and then they go home, and the moment they get home, they play guitar or sand furniture down or scour Craigslist. They can't help but doing it. Yeah. And they look up, and they have no friends because they play guitar all the time, and now they're starting to get a couple of gigs. The business takes care of itself. Yeah. This sounds like somebody who is very interested in the idea of brand building and having a cool website, but they've never even done the thing that they're about to jump off.
Yeah. Could be. Silva, he brings up a good point. Are you or your wife into the decor and the handyman stuff of designing and then building furniture from scratch?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we just recently got married in April, and we needed to furnish our new apartment home. And I would say maybe 80% of everything that's there was handcrafted by my wife or DIY by us. And we've been doing this. We get a lot of attraction from family and friends, and all of us, I guess you could say, fueling this idea. And we thought, well, maybe we can monetize this. Yeah. And because of my background in banking, I have the foresight to take care of the banking side of things, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So I think what John's hearing, and I think that was a good question, because it's smart to go, okay, how much do you really care about this? But what I do hear, which I think you heard, is I think you're trying to do so much planning because you're a banker, you're a process numbers guy, and the plan will take care of itself.
Just start making furniture.
Let's start making something and selling it to people, and then we go, oh, we sold 7 of this chair, but we thought this chair was going to work. Nobody gives a crap about it, and so we go, oh, okay, no big deal. And then so we're just going to tiptoe into this thing, and then we're going to crawl a little bit, and then we'll walk, and then we'll run. And so I think it's back to that same plan. But you need to stop worrying about brand and all that stuff, and you need to start proving concepts.
And let's get
absolutely.
This is going to turn off some of the listeners. That's fine. My son shot a deer last year. I just went and picked up the hide, like they made a rug out of it.
Yeah.
And I talked to the taxidermist today, and he said, as deer season's starting, I said, it's about to get wild. And he said, dude, we could skip this deer season, and we have a year's worth of work already in the building right now.
Wow.
So I'd love to see Silva along those lines.
Yep.
Make a bunch of chairs and have people start putting deposits down on chairs, and suddenly get a year or 6 months worth of work lined up.
That's it.
And then you can go, okay, now I've got cash in the bank. I've got these business going. Now we're off to the races.
Yeah, great point. John, for folks out there that are in Silva's situation, John made a great point. You want to get that 6 months of your salary tucked away in that side business before you even think about leaving the steady job. However, you make a very great point.
Get gigs lined up,
Let's also have a pipeline.
Yes.
And you should. If you're able to stack that much cash, you should have a pipeline of business. But you make a very good point. So I just want to reiterate that, because we get this question a lot on the Ramsey Show. Yeah. Hey, when do we know when to move from the steady day job to the side hustle full time? Well, first of all, you have no personal debt. Okay, so you're walking the baby steps out, so you're already through baby step 3A at least, and then we've got money in the side hustle account, at least 6 months worth. That's the safe play. But to your point, a very nice pipeline of future business. Now, there's no risk here.
You're off to the races, right? Yeah, and the risk is how well you manage that pipeline, right? That's different than finding stuff to eat. And by the way, friends and family will tell you they love something, but they're not going to part with their money for it, right? There's a total difference in friends and family telling you they like something and the marketplace telling you they like something.
Yeah, it's so true. Hey, Silva, thanks so much. Can't wait to hear back from you at some future point. Send us some pictures of those chairs. Hey, thanks to Dr. John Deloney, James and the team in the booth, and you, America. This is The Ramsey Show.
Dave here. We just launched a brand new audience survey for The Ramsey Show, and we'd love your feedback. You could be entered to win a $500 Visa gift card. No purchase necessary. Take the survey at RamseySolutions.com/survey.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, this is The Ramsey Show. It's where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life, specifically your money, your relationships, your mental health, your work, your future. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney joins me. We are Ramsey personalities. We host our own shows as a part of the Ramsey Network, and we team up today for you. So obviously we're going to take your money calls. We'll also take maybe those sticky work situations. Can I just tell you that we will change your name and location if it's particularly sticky, but John and I like those. I mean, like they're really like dumpster fire work questions. Those are fun.
Yes, and the dumpster fire at home questions are
those two
are good.
And we'll change your name, location. We understand that privacy is needed sometimes, but so we're taking all those calls and your money calls as well. 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Let's go to San Francisco, California, where we start off this hour. Carl is there. Carl, how can we help?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my phone call. I was calling because to give you a little bit of a background information, I'm 34 years old. I'm a self-employed electrician. I started my business back in October of 2020, and I'm trying to purchase my first home. Last year, my father passed away, unfortunately, and I tried to purchase his home, but when I was speaking, I believe I spoke to 2 different loan officers, and both of them were telling me that since I'd only been self-employed for about a little over a year, they were telling me that my only option were non-qualified mortgages. So I was just wondering if I could get some information from you guys on how to go about, purchasing a home.
How much money do you have saved up for the down payment?
Currently in my savings, I have $375,000. When the inheritance from my father passed away without a will, unfortunately. So we're going through the probate process. Based on the value of the estate, the 4 siblings are probably going to get around $380,000, $400,000 each. So there's
what kind of
about that much.
Yeah, so you're in the San Francisco area. So what's the price of a home that you're targeting?
I think, anything that is, halfway decent is kind of in the $900,000 range, when I look on Zillow and I see houses that have sold recently, like stuff that I would be interested in actually living in is kind of like right there in the $920,000 range.
Well, you're going to have a tremendously large down payment, so that's great news, and that should help you. John, the first thing that came to my mind is I want him to talk to our friends at Churchill Mortgage and tell him, he called the show. Here's my situation. Here's the whole shooting match. Tell him the whole story. And I think they'd work with you because of the down payment that you have. You're going to be in really, really good shape. So I don't want you to be discouraged. I'd like you to call Churchill Mortgage. We'll make sure that we get you connected to them after this phone call. But with the amount of money you're going to be able to put down, I just want you to be encouraged. You're going to be able to easily get the loan, the small loan that you're going to need.
do you guys recommend going on a 15 or
Yes.
still putting it
Yes.
still on a 15?
Yeah. Just playing with those numbers.
And listen, when I worked with Churchill, the first thing the guy told me, he's an incredible man. He said, I'm going to sit down with you, and I'm committing now. I'm not going to take your money if this is not in your best interest. That's how they started the conversation with me, okay? So great people, and they'll walk you through, here's what I need from you, here's why I need it from you, and here's what we're hoping to do. Here's the other thing, is home purchasing, people have stopped taking out loans. It's just kind of fallen off the map. And so you should be able to find somebody that will work with you. Start with Churchill because I trust those good folks.
Yeah.
For sure. It seemed like when I was looking, everybody was putting me on the back burner. Like they just kind of wanted me to talk to them when I was like literally a week away from making a purchase or something like that.
How long ago was this?
Hopefully it was in April.
Yeah. A little bit different market now. There's a lot of mortgage people sitting around playing Wordle right now. Things have slowed down if you've paid attention to the news. I don't know what was going on there, and there's no need to try to break that down. I literally want you to call Churchill and say, look, I called and I talked to Ken and John on the Ramsey Show, and they told me that you guys can help me. The fact that you're self-employed should not be that big of an issue, given that you've been there for a year and you have enormous down payment. Now, having that inheritance needs to be a part of this conversation, so you may have to be patient. Are you renting right now?
I'm renting a room right now.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Relax, and not to say that you're not, but let's get that inheritance. Let's get that big nest egg, because that's going to be that big down payment, and that's going to be your, I would believe, guarantee to get a mortgage. And a small mortgage, 15-year, because you're going to pay that off quickly. You're going to have a tremendous rate on that, and you're going to pay that off, and you're going to be crushing it. Hey, I want people to hear your story. What were you doing before you became a self-employed electrician? Were you working for somebody else? Were you apprenticing? What's the story?
I was a union electrician for the IBEW.
Nice.
I still maintain my membership with the IBEW.
Good. How's business going for you?
Things have definitely slowed down. Calls aren't coming in like they used to 6 months ago, but I'm still, getting projects here and there, and it's definitely, I have nothing to complain about.
Good. You like working for yourself?
I do have. It's definitely been a reality check. There's been, some very high highs and some very low lows.
All right. Here's why I asked
overall,
that.
I would never go ahead.
I want you, don't get in a hurry to buy a house. Houses are still going to be there. And that massive down payment through the inheritance on top of what you already have in savings is going to be there. You're in your first year. So many small businesses fail in their first year and a half. You've got a reality check right now.
October is going to be year 2.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You've made it past most small business owners, and so you've made it, and you've seen the ups and the downs. Let's keep building that electrician business. Let's keep going there. Don't be in a big hurry. Do call Churchill Mortgage, but really focus on growing that clientele and that business, because that is going to be huge for you given your great financial position. But you should be really encouraged.
And Carl, it's also okay to get this big inheritance and park it and to rent your own apartment for a year. And I know apartment rents are sky high, all that, but there's a graduated step between renting somebody's room and having my own place. And man, just taking a break. Your dad passed away, still mourning that, having that money. There's just this, I got to go do something. Nah, you really don't, man. You can do this in stages. And you're going to not stress yourself out with a home purchase at the same time your personal business is slowing down a little bit.
Yeah. There's something about people just don't want to rent because they feel like they're wasting money. And I love to just remind people, Stacy and I rented for 2 years when we moved here just because we knew we were planting for a long time.
Yeah.
And it just gave us options. We didn't think of it, I'm throwing money away every month. It was like, okay.
No, I'm buying peace of mind.
Yes. Great way of saying that. And so
I'm buying freedom right now.
It gives you options, folks. You're not wasting that money. All right, thank you so much for the call, Carl. We love small business owners. The best is yet to be for you, my friend. I promise you that. And call Churchill Mortgage. They'll help you. All right, don't move. More Ramsey Show and more of your calls coming right up.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by my colleague, Dr. John Deloney. We're here taking your calls. 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Let's go to Doug in Sacramento, California. Doug, how can we help?
Hi, Ken. Hi, John. How are you guys doing?
We're having a blast, Doug. What's going on?
I'm in a not great situation, and I'm trying to get some advice. Hopefully, some advice that saves me from going further into debt.
Okay.
A couple years ago,
we can't give you that advice. You just have to choose to not go into debt. All right, now go.
Okay. Well, that's the hard part. A couple years ago, I was debt free, and I went through a divorce, and I went into debt to get a lawyer in order to have more time with our shared child. And ever since then, it's just been a struggle to survive. I'm in a new city. I don't have anybody else to help me take care of him. And I was driving a beat up car. I had my $1,000 emergency fund, and I was paying down debt as fast as I could. And there was my car broke down, and it costs more to fix it than the car is worth. And now it's already sold to the junkyard, and I need a car by Monday morning so I can get to work. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
How far are you honestly. How far is your work office from your house?
30 minutes, 20-minute drive maybe.
Okay. And you can't get to that office any other way than owning your own car?
Well, I could Uber.
My friend, you don't have to go into debt right now is what I'm trying to say. I understand everything you just laid out, and it sucks. But you don't have to buy a car to get to work. Not in today's world. True or false?
That's true.
Now, we need to get you a car. I'm in no way saying that you're going to Uber for the next hour, but we don't want you going into debt. So is your emergency fund completely gone?
I have my $1,000 emergency fund, and I have $500 that I got from the scrapyard for my car.
Okay. What do you do for a living, ma'am?
I'm a machinist. I'm a machinist.
And did you move to a new town because your ex-wife moved to a new town, you want to be with your kid? Why'd you move to a new town?
Yeah, that's why.
How long have you been divorced?
The paperwork was completed about 5-6 months ago.
Okay.
But the process started right about it when COVID happened. So
how much debt have you accumulated now?
All of it together adds up to $23,000.
What's all of it together?
All of it together. So there's 9 that goes directly to the lawyer. There's $7,000 on a credit card. There's another $5,900 on another credit card, and then there's $800 that goes to back rent because I was out of work for a couple of months and I wasn't able to pay rent during that time.
What kind of money are you making now?
I guess pretty good. I make $29 an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Overtime is, it's pretty good. Overtime is like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I wanted to know your overtime. How much can you make on overtime right now?
It comes and goes. It's not very, when it's there, I work it, but it's not very dependable.
Right.
I do have a side, I drive for DoorDash on the side.
Well,
and it brings in some, but it helps beat my car up too.
Okay. Yeah. So you're a machinist, which means you can do a lot of different things with your head and hands, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got to tell you right now, I would be looking to sell everything you could possibly sell. What kind of side work can you get over the next 2 to 3 weeks? Making really good money, jumping in anywhere and everywhere. I mean, when you don't have the kids or when you're not seeing the kids, you're not sleeping. You're doing everything you can. Let's get you a $5,000 car or a $4,000 car or whatever. Get you back on your feet so that you can attack this debt again. How possible is that?
Well, in order to get a $4,000, $5,000 car, I would have to go out and get a credit card to cover the extra.
No. You missed what I said. I didn't say go buy it now. I'm saying go make some money, sell something, do whatever it takes, borrow somebody's car. If you got to Uber for 3 straight weeks, that's what you do. But you work as hard as you can to come up with that money. You can, at $29 an hour, okay, in 2 months or less, you can come up with $5,000 to get a car.
In my mind, the car has to come before, because I don't know how I would get to all the places that I'm going to do the work.
Well, I appreciate that it's in your mind, John. I'm missing the connection.
Doug, here's the thing. Let me ask you this, Doug. Why'd you get divorced?
Oh man, we weren't getting along. We were not getting along.
Why not?
A lot. It goes both ways. It was a lot of her and a lot of me.
Okay. Here's on this side of it, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, man. You sound exhausted and you sound defeated. It sounds like you wake up every day and your first thought when you're washing your face in the mirror, if you even bother to do it, is how the hell did my life end up like this? Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm in a strange town in a job that is fine. I'm just trying to hang on to my kid. And let me tell you this, you're a good dad. You fought for your kid. And you fought with every claw and scratch you could. And you're exhausted. And when you get exhausted, when we get exhausted, and when we get lonely, we cut corners. And we cut corners, man, you find yourself in a hole you can't dig out of. Or that's going to take you, instead of 2 months, it's going to take you 2 years. Mm-hmm. Don't do it, man. So it's a matter of, like, kids, this is scorched earth. This is old school. Before everyone had credit cards, our dads and our granddads just had to figure crap out. This is you right now.
Yeah.
And it might be 2 months of you telling your wife or your ex-wife, I'm gonna give up my time with my little one for 30 or 60 days. Because I refuse to put me and him in another hole like I've done before. And we're going to get a car, and then we're going to work like crazy. And then you're going to look up in a year, and this is going to be a totally different picture. And what Ken and I have the blessing to do is to see people in your mess, and then we get to talk to them a year from now, and they breathe different, and they sleep different, and they laugh different. And you're just in the hole, man. And so we got 2 guys in the light saying, hey, walk this way. And I get, it's like, you can't even see it. Like, how am I possibly supposed to do any more work? And what we're telling you is just go for it.
Yeah. You got to work your way out of this. You don't want to add another $5,000 in credit card debt at whatever interest rate you're already at, when you can bust it like we're telling you, and you can buy a decent little car for $4,000 or $5,000 that'll get you from point A to point B.
Or $2,000. Do it for $2,000.
Yeah.
Get a piece of junk for $2,000.
Yeah, and stop door dashing. Mm-hmm. That's DoorDash. Can I just say this? DoorDash is great. All work is worthy, but for you, a machinist, I wish I could do stuff that you do. I could be so much more valuable for Stacy around the house, but I'm an idiot, okay? I can't fix anything. But you are so talented and you are so needed. You could find work all over the place. Side jobs here and there using your skills. True or false?
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
could.
Doug. Come on, Doug.
Yeah.
Do you believe you're talented or not?
I'm good with. No, I do. I could do so much more than I'm doing.
Then go do
right
so
now.
much more.
So tied down.
You do.
I get it.
You got through round one, and you got your head knocked off, but you're not unconscious, and you're on the stool, and Ken and I are your trainer looking at you. We just put your mouthpiece back in, and we're telling you, get up and go out there and start swinging. The fight's not over. It's just round one. Yeah, you got your bell rung in round one. Now we're all watching to see what are you going to do next. Commit to not borrowing money, man. Move forward, not backwards.
Doug, you can do this. You got so much more strength than you could possibly imagine. Believe in yourself and just go work yourself out of this hole. You can do it. We believe in you. This is The Ramsey Show.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. John Deloney, and we're thrilled to be here with you today, taking your phone calls, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Let's go to Los Angeles, California, and Drew is there. Drew, how can we help?
Hi, Ken and John. How are you doing?
We're having a blast. Drew, what's going on?
So I have a question about a will. In 2014, my grandfather died, and he had a substantial amount of wealth. So fast forward to today, and the way his will was designed was that it was supposed to be divided up amongst half to take care of my grandmother, and then half was supposed to go to my dad and his sisters. However, my grandmother did not want to honor my grandfather's will, so she went to the executor of the will, asked if she had to do it, and they went to a lawyer. Somehow they changed the will, and that will is not being honored. I was wondering if this was legal, or if if my family should be looking to take action on this, or what would you suggest?
Well, so she hired a lawyer, and you said went to the executor?
The executor of the will was nobody in our family. It was a accountant trusted by my grandfather.
Right.
And when she went to the executor, she told him, I don't want to honor this. Can we change it? So they found a lawyer who somehow found a way to change it.
How much wealth are we talking about here?
I don't have an exact figure. I know that it's a very substantial amount.
Substantial like $1 million? Substantial like $100 million? What do you guess?
Probably north of 5-10 million.
Okay. Here's what I'm getting at. I've never heard of what you've described. And I spent my career around attorneys. I know a lot of people don't want to honor a will, but that's what a will is for. It's a legal document. So if you have reason to believe that something nefarious happened, like somebody went and changed somebody's will and is channeling money elsewhere, then you can go get an attorney and fight that. That's your legal recourse. I'm kind of torn because, I mean, that's a declaration of war against your family, right? But also, your grandmother doing that is also a declaration of war against your family. So, I mean, it's kind of tit for tat.
Yeah, I just am curious, John. If the lawyer can't do it, I mean,
yeah, I've never heard of this.
So what? You're not. I don't know the rest of the story, and I'm not sure you know the rest of the story. Meaning, when the lawyer who was hired by the executor and grandma got the will changed, did it go before a judge?
So as far as I know, no. However, apparently there was a legal loophole where my grandmother did not have to honor this will.
I've never heard of that.
We're not legal experts. So we can't. Right. There's very little we can do other than to say, if you want to challenge this,
you want to sue your grandma, go for it.
Go get a lawyer and tell the lawyer the story. But you better have your facts before you start spending lawyer money.
You don't have a claim to the suit because you're not a beneficiary in the will. Your dad does. So your dad's gonna have to sue his mom and get to the bottom of it.
That's right. Sorry.
Okay. And then that's the other part of it. It's just kind of disgusting.
I've watched a lot of Matlock when I was growing up. He doesn't even know who that is. I'm sure he's too young.
Matlock.
Yeah. But we're not lawyers.
Here's the messy thing. My guess is there's a lot more mess in this family.
Oh, I was getting ready to say to you, what do you see in that? We got grandmama, and she's going, I don't want my kids to get the money.
Or grandma's got dementia, or an attorney friend or the accountant reached out and said, hey, there's a way we don't have to give this money away.
Yeah, there's a lot below the surface here.
A whole bunch.
Methinks Thanksgiving dinner's not been very warm.
Exactly. So here's the deal. You can sue your grandma. And you can hire an attorney to do a forensics accounting of what the original will was, and where's the assets, and who's got them, and why, and who tried to change it, and is there any criminal behavior? You can do that, absolutely.
Oh, sure.
And Thanksgiving's different forever. It's already different.
I think it already is.
It already is.
Probably hadn't been very nice for a long time.
That's right.
That's unfortunate.
Sorry, brother.
Yeah, sorry that we aren't legal experts, but I would talk to Pops, and he needs to fight if he wants to fight.
And reach out and get an attorney.
Yeah, let's get to Cincinnati, Ohio. Brady is there. Brady, how can we help?
Hey, Brady, how you guys? Sorry.
You're Brady.
You're Brady. What's going on, man? We're doing great. How can we help?
So my grandpa had told me about Dave Ramsey a couple years ago. Didn't really listen. Didn't really think I would need it. And then I find myself almost $400 negative on my bank account. So I start looking at Dave Ramsey finally, and I've been looking for about a week now. My wife's on board with it, but we just have absolutely no idea where to start.
All right,
and so
give
I'm
us a
hoping
picture.
for a push or some advice.
All right,
okay,
we'll give you some advice within the baby steps, which are pretty simple to understand. Give us a picture of what's going on with you financially. Let's start with debt.
Okay, debt. So we've got mortgage about $150,000. I've got a truck of about $40,000, which I know is ridiculous. That's probably the first thing I need to take care of.
Yeah. Well, let's stay right there. Let's get some momentum on the truck. How much is that truck worth?
It's only worth about $37,000 private sale based on Kelley Blue Book.
All right, keep going.
$40,000 on it.
Okay, keep going with the car. What's the car?
Okay, and then my wife's car, it's worth like $13,000. She owes about $9,000 on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a little bit of equity in that one. And then we've got various credit card debts, personal loan, and then a lot of medical debt as well.
How much credit card debt?
Total, like $5,000.
Okay, what's the medical debt?
I have to get it all together, but I would say probably close to $10,000, maybe a little bit under.
$10,000. Okay. All right, and what do you have in savings? Any cash?
I've got no savings in cash.
All right.
What's your income?
I make about $46,000. I get a raise in 9 days, and I'll be making $56,000 a year.
Does your wife work outside the home?
She only works every Friday and gets paid $100 every Friday.
Do you guys have kiddos?
We do. We have 2.
Okay. All right, John, you want to walk me through the baby steps? Or, is this tag team here?
So first thing we're going to do is, oh, man, you got a mess on your hands. Actually, you got a mess on your hands, but you can start cleaning this up today. So here's baby step 1. You're going to sell some stuff and get $1,000 in the savings account. Full stop.
Okay, and we are working on that. We've got everything on Facebook Marketplace.
There you go.
That we can part with.
Everything. I want those 2 kids to be like, are we going on Marketplace? Right? That's the goal, right? Everything.
Right.
Your old guitars that you're like, no, dude, I'm going to get the band back together. You're not right now. You're not, right? You got 2 mowers because you're that guy. Sell one of them, right? Whatever you got to do. You've got a truck that is about your annual income. That's what you owe on it. That's correct. Insanity. You know that, right?
I know. I 100% agree.
I would probably, 100%. If I found myself in your situation, I would go down to take both cars and sell them both and leave with 2 old used Camrys. That's what I would do. Okay? This is an emergency situation. You got 2 little kids and you've got negative dollars in your checking account. This is not a time to be like, yeah, but I know that, man, you're a long way off from that. Got it?
Right.
And let me back up. Before you get the $1,000 emergency fund, dude, you need to have a target of what you're trying to hit. You've got to be a grown-up and go pull your credit report from one or two of the service providers, and you've got to know exactly how much you owe in order from smallest to largest, right? And you're going to go through these things and start knocking them off one at a time. You're going to work extra. Your wife's probably going to have to work. You're going to have to call on people to keep the kids. You're going to have to get after it.
Brady, you can do this. Hang on the line. We're going to gift you a free membership, trial membership, whatever we do, guys, to FPU, Financial Peace University.
But you got to watch the video.
Listen, you got to stay with it. Let's give you Total Money Makeover as well. And John's right. I'd sell those cars instantly and work more overtime side jobs than you ever have in your life. You're really close to getting out of this. You can do this. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. My colleague is Dr. John Deloney. He joins me this hour. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. 888-825-5225. Hey, listen, folks. We want to know what you think. We really do. And who doesn't love their own opinion? Yeah, it's what I used to love about the old school, like, Tonight Show when Jay Leno would, they'd take a camera out on the street. You stick a microphone and a camera in someone's face and ask them anything, most people are like, no idea what I'm being asked, but I'm going to answer anyway.
That sounds like the internet.
Yeah, we don't want that kind of opinion, but we do want those of you who love the show, who digest the show however you do, to give us your feedback so that we're bringing you more of what you want. So one way you could do this is by answering a few questions in a new show survey we just launched. You can check that out at RamseySolutions.com/survey. That is the website, RamseySolutions.com/survey. It only takes a few minutes, and we're going to try to incentivize you. A $500 Visa gift card is up for grabs, and I guess you become eligible for that when you go to Ramsey Solutions, can't talk, John, .com/survey, RamseySolutions.com/survey. Tell us what you think. Be kind. Be gentle.
But be honest.
Actually, be honest. I'm not going to read it. Somebody else does.
They'll read it to us.
They'll tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. All right, back to the phones we go. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the Steelers. John is there. John, how can we help?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
So a couple questions, both kind of revolved around pausing the baby steps if possible. One is about getting a house. We have a house. It's a townhouse, and we're looking to upgrade 2 kids, boy, girl. only have 2 bedrooms, so we want them to have separate bedrooms eventually. And then emergency fund, if I dip into it, do I pause the baby steps to pay it back?
Well, first, don't dip into your emergency fund for something that's not an emergency.
So we just dipped in. It was a surgery my wife had. Would that be considered? It was a few $1,000s, and we didn't know if we should cash flow it, which it might take a little bit of time, but they started to come in, so we took a couple $1,000 to start to pay.
I would not call that an emergency if you could cash flow it. And remember, emergency fund is for that true emergency. Something comes out of nowhere, and we didn't plan for it, and it is a significant expense, and so it needs to be paid and needs to be dealt with right now. That's how we would define an emergency. Am I right, John?
Yeah, I had a procedure done a few weeks ago, but I knew it was coming a couple months in advance, and so my wife and I prepared for it. So.
This one we didn't know was coming, so I didn't know how.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you all of a sudden you need emergency surgery, or hey, you have to have surgery next week. Yeah, that's what the emergency fund's for.
How much did you take out?
It was $3,000 out of it.
All right. So are you asking if you pause the baby steps until you replenish?
Yeah. Do we pause? Because we could pay it back within a month if we. But do I pause the investing in my kids' college and those things to pay it back real quick, or do we just slowly cash flow it back?
No, slowly cash flow it back. You wouldn't pause the rest of the baby steps. I mean, it's $3,000. You guys are doing okay, correct?
Right. Yes. Yeah. We're about a year out of debt.
Good man.
Good for you, man.
Listen, John. I know what you're talking about. I had an idiot moment. It's probably worth sharing. I had a small leak in my living room, John, in the corner. Have I told you this story? Yeah, and
I love idiot stories.
Yeah, well, I am good at these. So the long story short, John from Pittsburgh and John here in the studio is we had a leak in the wintertime. It was the corner of the roof right in the living room, and I started to see one night a little bubbling up, and I was like, uh-oh. And we'd had heavy rain for 2 or 3 days. And so I went up like Clark Griswold up in the ceiling in the attic and made it all the way across, walked across the boards, in my moccasins, like a complete idiot, And I saw where the leak was. Okay, it's not a disaster, but we got a nail hole or something. I'm going to have to call the roofer. On my way back. Yeah, you know where this is going, don't you, John?
Right through.
Yeah, I had some Flex Seal that I sprayed. That guy that yells at you, you can put your boat back together. Yeah. I bought that. I thought, well, that'll keep it until. And so the cap wasn't on. And so as I'm walking across the tube of, the joist, floor joist, I looked at the cap and decided to adjust the cap while I was walking on the high wire and stepped through my ceiling. About broke my leg. I mean, it was disastrous. I'm not kidding you. Like half my leg is hanging through our living room ceiling. That kind of stuff can happen.
That's right.
And so there were several damages.
That's what the emergency fund is for right there.
That's what the emergency fund is for because I needed it fixed immediately, and we hadn't budgeted for it. We could have cash flowed it and moved the budget around. The point is, small amount out. Yeah. But I hate touching my emergency fund is my point.
Makes me crazy.
So, John, I totally get where you're at. I always like to replenish that emergency fund when we have to use it almost immediately because I hate using it. However, in this case, don't pause the baby steps. You're going to replenish it pretty quickly. Okay?
Then what about the upgrade of the house, which is like a 3B? Kind of thing? Do we pause because we feel like we're close to the way the market is in our area, but we need a little bit more. We feel down payment to get to the 15-year mortgage.
If you think you can do it in 6 months, I'd be all right with it. If you think you can do it quickly,
that was my question. I think we could do it in 6 months.
If you can do it in 6 months and you just want to hit the gas on this real quick thing, fine.
Yeah, I say so. Because you're talking about college investing and then your normal 15%. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, correct. Because that free up a good bit. And if we just went back to the zone temps for 6 months like we were, we could have the cash to get into the house.
Yes, but I want y'all to write it down, and I want you to commit to a blood oath. Because here's the deal. Yeah. Whenever you give somebody a little bit, it's like a little bit of wiggle room, you're going to find yourself going out to eat 5 nights a week and doing this. And let's go ahead and buy this house instead of this. Right? See what I'm saying? So
put the plan down 6 months. My wife and I, okay, let's stick this 6 months, and then we'll get back to where we were.
Come what may. Yep. We're doing this, right? And maybe even go to your HR representative at your office and say for 6 months, and then we want it to automatically trigger back to start the withdrawal again or whatever that looks like. But take it out of your hands as much as possible, and y'all commit We're gonna look at this every week to make sure we're staying on this thing. But if you think you can knock it out in 6 months, I'm okay with pausing stuff. But don't do it much longer than that, man, because you're gonna end up costing yourself down the road.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
and hey, I would re-adopt that gazelle intensity that you guys, that you guys displayed to get where you are. So it's a sprint.
We're not going out to eat. We're not buying stuff.
No.
We're going to have a very sparse Christmas. We're just going to knock this out.
Yep. Because, listen, I get where you're at, too, on the townhouse and the kids and everything. But, again, you can create an urgency that's really not urgent.
It's a manufactured urgency.
The kids are fine. And I get it. You want to separate them and get them in different rooms. I get all that. But take your time. You don't want to sacrifice. John laid that out beautifully. So, hey, man, great job.
Congratulations.
On being debt-free and working the baby steps. And this is a really great call, John. Really, really, really happy for you guys. And that's why the baby steps are so brilliant. Even in their simplicity, they're brilliant.
They're just simple, yeah.
They just give you – you understand this about human behavior. Talk about the power of riverbanks, to have – okay, this is where I'm running.
Well, I think we as a culture are wrestling with that because we don't like them. And now we've got this tiny little sliver in human history when we can temporarily avoid all boundaries. We can just make it up as we go. You don't like the way you look? Fix it. You don't like the car? You just borrow some money and you can just go fix it. We're trying to live in a boundary-free life. Mm-hmm. The problem is, as the great Bessel van der Kolk says, the body's keeping the score. We're not designed to live without boundaries. And it's frustrating to submit to that. And we've got scientists trying to smooth out all riverbanks, right? Let's just let this thing just go any way we want to, whatever you feel like, just go. Ultimately, we got to live within the boundaries, man. And it's frustrating, and boundaries have been used throughout history to abuse people. I get that. And at the same time, math is just math, man. Mm-hmm. It just is. Peace is just peace. And you can play outside the boundaries all you want, man, but it's going to come at a cost. And so I identify with this guy so much. You get through, and then it's like, now I finally want this car. You mean I got to go 2 more years to save up for this car that I want? Yep. And it's just adopting those principles for the long haul. Yeah. Over and over and over again. It's frustrating, but that's good life.
John, you're a stud. Borrow the name from that great football franchise in Pittsburgh and steal your resolve. You guys got this. You got the plan, and you've done it. Big thanks to my colleague, Dr. John Deloney. Thank you to James and the entire team behind the booth. Most importantly, thank you, America, for watching and listening. This is The Ramsey Show.
Dave here. We just launched a brand new audience survey for The Ramsey Show, and we'd love your feedback. You could be entered to win a $500 Visa gift card. No purchase necessary. Take the survey at RamseySolutions.com/survey.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. This is The Ramsey Show. It's where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life, specifically your money, your relationships, your mental health, your work. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by my colleague, Dr. John Deloney. The phone number to jump in is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Let's go to Craig in Indianapolis, Indiana. Craig, how can we help?
Hey, Ken, John. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Just a little background. 2005, we got hooked up with the Ramsey baby steps and went through the process, and we're now in baby step 7 and baby steps millionaires.
Way to go!
And, nice.
But here's a couple months back, I got terminated from a job of 26 years on a policy violation. And going forward, I want to know how to broach that subject in an interview, because I know the question can be asked, how did you leave your last job?
What was the what are you comfortable sharing on this policy violation? I think it will help my advice.
I think it was misapplied, but it was a racial discrimination, and it was definitely misapplied, and but I had no recourse. Indiana's a right-to-work state, so you can get fired for any reason. When I go to the next interview, when they ask that question, I want to be upfront, but how do I do that without laying myself out?
I will tell you that there are very few questions that truly stump me, and for the moment I'm stumped in that this is such a red flag for obvious reasons. Certainly you understand. You do need to be upfront. But it sounds to me like, okay, so let me go back. Before I tell you what I think you should say, you're telling me that it's your word versus their word. They're saying you violated something and you're saying I did not do it. Are you basically saying this was a misunderstanding?
Yeah. No, it wasn't a misunderstanding. The company got hit with a fairly significant case a couple years back, and they are just hypersensitive to this stuff. And it literally took almost nothing to trigger this.
Right, but and I don't want you to share what you said because I don't want to be insensitive to anybody, but was this something you said or something you did?
It was something that was posted.
You posted something on your social media?
Yeah, it was a group chat, and I posted something, and it was taken the wrong way. I didn't even imply it to be the way it was. One person took it, and that's how it...
Okay, let me ask you this. If you're in a job interview in the near future, and would you feel comfortable showing what you posted to anybody from any walk of life?
Absolutely.
You would push it across the table.
Previous coworkers say, what happened? Because they're being real quiet about it. And I've had previous coworkers ask me, well, what happened? We don't understand why you're gone. So, and I show them, they shake their head. They just are in disbelief that I was terminated over that.
Well, then part of me says that, because if you start getting too gray about this, they're going to check your references. You have to assume that they're going to check your references. And so what you don't want...
My references are stellar. I mean, even my supervisors and everything will give me the utmost high recommendation.
Okay, wait a second. I know you're chomping at the bit, but let me ask you this: if you go interview for a company ABC, all right, and they call your past company where you were terminated, you're telling me that the people who terminated you are going to say great things about you, and they're going to say
management terminated me, not my direct supervisor.
Okay. But my point is that you're going to have to plan for this. So I don't want to get cute. I don't want to try to describe or coach you on some sort of dance. I think you're going to have to deal with this. So I think you're going to have your post, and I'd print it out, and I would say, here's what happened. And I've learned. Now, here's the deal. I would show them the post, and then I would also say, here's what I've learned. Even if you stand by what you posted, even if you think that you were wrongly terminated or that you were misunderstood or somebody was too sensitive, it doesn't matter. I would go, here's what I posted. Here it is. Here's who I am. Here's what I learned. And I would just own it and say, but for 26 years, I had a stellar performance, and then I would just focus on the positives of why you want to be there. I just don't, John, am I missing anything?
Yeah, here's the one thing, Craig, that's bothering me is you have a very victim-centric mentality. Okay?
How so?
Well, I don't even know. And even if that, you said it best, kid, even if that's how it happened, it comes across as manipulative and disingenuous. Okay. And so I love Ken's idea. When you go for an interview, you should have a padfolio of some sort. Print it off and put it in there. And if you get down that granular, then have the conversation. And I love what Ken said. If you didn't learn something from the exchange, if you didn't learn, hey, I hurt somebody's feelings and I didn't even mean to. Mm-hmm. I'm learning new things, which, by the way, I've done over the past 36 months. And I learn new things. Even if I think I didn't mean to hurt you, it doesn't matter what I meant. The person on the other end of what I said, hey, that hurt. Please don't do that. And I can do one of two things. Be an idiot and go, I'm going to say, or I can say, dude, I don't want to hurt you. I'm sorry. I'm going to change that. And so you walking away saying, what did you learn? I learned that things that I think are private on the internet are public, and so I'm going to be more responsible about what I post. I'm going to have some friends that I reach out to if I hurt their feelings and say, hey, did I say this the right way or the wrong way? Like, right? So regardless of what happened, it's I don't know, just management. Man, take some ownership. Right? I posted something. I got fired for it. I learned my lesson, and I'm moving forward. I'm a good guy. I got 26 years of track record. I have absolutely nothing in my body wants to hurt other people. And I did. I crossed a line. My company said I crossed a line. I didn't think I did, but I did. And I've learned my lesson. Like, you see what I'm saying? That is ownership. I'm taking this. I'm sliding across the table. Totally different than all shucks, man. I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a hold your head up high
way of handling it.
Yeah. So here's what we're doing. We're saying take the elephant out of the room.
Absolutely.
You start acting like a politician, on those Sunday morning shows. They ask them a direct question. Is the sun hot? And then they start going, well, it depends on the position.
This guy talks about rain all the time. Like, I thought I asked you.
So I didn't ask you that. So I would just completely own it that way. And, John, I love the advice. There's something to be learned.
Oh,
and I love what you said. Don't take on the role of victim.
No.
Because you're trying to present yourself as a great candidate. And here's what they really care about. They only want to know one thing. And only one thing, Craig. You ready? Can Craig help us win?
Yep.
And if they think that Craig can help us win, they'll go, you're hired.
This is a guy that messed up and learned something. This is a guy that somebody messed him over, and he still learned something.
Yeah.
That's the guy I want on my team.
You're fine, Craig. No shame in your game. Head high. But take humility into the conversation. It's going to be okay. Thank you for trusting us with the call. You're going to be okay. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back, America. You have joined the conversation here on The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman, joined by Dr. John Deloney, taking your phone calls about money, your relationships, work situations. How do I get unstuck, whether it's relationally, financially, or professionally? That's what we're here to help you with. The phone number is 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Let's go to Buffalo, New York. Adam is there. Adam, how can we help?
Hey, guys. How are you doing here today?
We're having a blast. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. A little stressed, so hoping you guys can help me out here.
All right.
Just to give you a little bit of background here. So earlier this week, my mother came to me and asked me to help her with their finances, doing a monthly budget and getting things in order as well, too. Going over some general information with her, I found out that they have about $65K in debt, but they're also looking to retire in the next 3 to 5 years. And I told them to go to a financial advisor. They're a little untrusting of people outside the family when it comes to money. So I'm just looking for some information, something that I can relay back to them as far as how to kind of get out of this debt before they go looking to get into retirement.
Sure. How familiar are you with our baby steps?
Very familiar. I'm actually following it myself right now.
Great. Are they familiar with Dave and the Ramsey Show and financial peace or any of this stuff, or is this all foreign to them?
Kind of. I brought that up to her when we initially talked, and I found out all this information. So it's relatively new to them.
Okay, give us a quick snapshot of their financial picture. How you said $65,000 in debt. How much do they make collectively?
Collectively, a year probably $100K.
So $100K, and do they have 401ks, pension plans? What do they currently have in the form of retirement accounts?
Yep, in retirement account, they probably have around $400K in their 401ks. And then with pensions combined, when they do retire, they'll probably be making $2,100 a month with their pensions.
And what's their housing situation?
The house is paid off for, but they do have a home equity loan that the $65K is tied up in right now.
Okay, and then what is the rest of the $65K? Home equity loan, what else?
Home equity loan. With the home equity loan, they put a couple, I believe, like 5-10 years ago, they redid their kitchen, which is probably, I believe, around between $30,000 to $50,000. I don't have that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Number.
So the 65 is just the HELOC. There's nothing outside of that.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, I mean, what you got to sit down with them and you got to sit down and explain the baby steps to them, right? I mean, just literally walk them through this. Baby step one is the $1,000 in their savings account, and then everything else. And they're obviously older, so gazelle intensity to go. We're paying off the HELOC, right? Everything it's one $65,000 snowball we're getting after, right? And so we just got to take that on every month. And they've got X amount of years that they want to retire. And so that paid for home plus their 401k and the pension all puts them in a pretty decent space if they have no debt and they were to knock that out quickly and start investing as quickly as possible. Would you say that's true as their son?
Yes, definitely. And what I'm wondering is do they stop investing in their 401k and basically the money that they're putting into the 401k invest that into the debt? Yes. And once they knock that off,
absolutely. Yeah, they pause. They pause on that because they have a paid-for house, right? And they've got a pension coming their way. So pause everything, and they are knocking this out. And walk them through this. Help them with a budget. If they're willing, and I don't hear that there's any tension on this, sit down with them and do a basic budget with them. Walk them through FPU and get them hooked up on every dollar. Literally do it with them. And get them automated to where every extra dime is going into that HELOC, and they'll knock that out pretty quickly. And if either one of them can get some overtime or some side work, or how much could you sell? Do they have 10, 15 grand of stuff laying around the house? I mean, that's the gazelle intensity to try to knock this out sooner rather than later.
Gotcha. Yeah, and they have about $4,000 in their savings account. Should we drain that down to the 1K that you guys talk about with baby step number one, put that towards the 65K and then look to invest in that later?
Yep, today. So now they're down to 62. Show them that.
And Adam, I would start the conversation with, you guys have this end goal of retiring sooner rather than later. You're going to have to change the way you live to do this safely and smartly.
Gotcha.
That's how
I see it affecting their daily life and
it will
and stuff like that as well too, and tension on their marriage as well. And so I just want to see them financially free and get back to the happy-go-lucky selves they are.
You can't want this more than they do.
Correct.
You want them to have the freedom you're feeling as you walk through this stuff, and you want them to have the optimism that you have walking through this stuff, and they have to want it. You can't force it on them. You can't make them do it. You can show them reality, which is you've got a math problem here, and y'all are going to have to change your lives a little bit if you want. And here's what retirement's going to look like, by the way. Here is your budget. So when my mom was talking about, hey, I'm starting to have a conversation about retirement, the first question I asked was, can y'all afford to do that? Because you want to retire all you want. That's a math problem first. And then an identity and what am I going to do next problem second. So when someone's like, I'm thinking about retiring, first question is, is that even a possibility for you? And some people think they just magically can retire when they get to 62 or 65, and the math says otherwise, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, Adam, you're a good man. Hang on the line. Let's gift them with a year of Financial Peace University. Let's get them going. And John, that's great advice.
Tell them to watch the videos together. Yeah.
I was going to say, how does he approach that? He's going to gift them with us. It's our gift to him to give to his parents. What's the great way to kind of posture that?
I'm coming over to watch this with you.
Oh, okay, good.
I'll come watch it with you.
Great.
And here's what I'm doing in my house, and it's making a huge difference. You've invited me into this conversation. And so I'm just going to show it to you. I'm going to give you a ringside seat to it, and I'll do it with you.
Yeah, I love it. Great. Thanks for the call, Adam. You're a good son. Dennis is up in El Paso, Texas. Dennis, how can we help?
Hey, guys. So I am struggling with something that my wife and I have been going back and forth on for probably about a year or maybe even longer. So we became completely debt-free March of last year, and we live in a small home, that we didn't plan on staying in permanently. We thought it would be, a few months out of the year. And so the question is, we'd like to upgrade and go to a little bit larger home with the thought of we have a rental property right now and would also rent the one that we live in currently. I'm wondering what you all would do in my position where would you take out a mortgage on a new home that you'd go live in and collect more rental because there'd be 2 rentals instead of 1 property, or would you save up for, let's say, 6 years, because currently that's our plan, but we keep getting tempted when we look at homes. It's like, ooh, start imagining, getting excited, and it's like, oh, we can actually probably make this work. And we always say, what would Dave Ramsey say? And so finally making this phone call and really appreciate y'all taking the question.
Yeah, we only have about a minute. I think this is pretty straightforward. Do you want to own 2 rental homes, or do you want to own that next home completely debt-free from the get-go? What do you want?
I'd like to have the rental and pay off that other home as soon as possible.
Well, I didn't ask you that.
Yeah.
I asked you, and so I think you wait 6 years. If it's going to take you 6 years to save up to pay cash for the upgrade, then that's the deal.
I wouldn't hold 2 liabilities and pay the mortgage company or pay the bank, give them a gift every month of my interest. Well, I don't know why you would do that.
Yeah.
You've done the hard work. You're debt-free.
Yeah,
or sell the rentals and go buy a house with cash.
But that's why I asked the question that way, Dennis. What's more important? If the upgrade cash house is more important, then I'm selling one of the rentals instantly to get there. Or selling both.
That's exactly right.
But if I want to own 2 cash rentals, if that's more important, then it means I'm going to save up and wait longer to buy the upgrade.
Right.
You get to decide, but don't go into debt. You've already become debt-free. Don't go back. You don't need to. Decide what you want to do, Dennis. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm Ken Coleman. Dr. John Deloney is my colleague, and he joins me this hour. The phone number is 888-825-5225. If you want to jump in, 888-825-5225. So, John, this is fun. Every once in a while, we will take a question from the lobby. And today, we've got a returning friend. She and her family were here yesterday doing their debt-free scream, and she joins us again in the lobby today. But this time, a work-related question. It's Angelica. Did I say that correct?
Yes,
perfect.
All
right. Welcome back.
Thank you, Ken.
Now, before we get to your question, this is kind of rare. You were on that stage yesterday with your family doing your debt-free scream.
Yes.
Now you're back a day later. How does it feel this time?
I think I'm double nervous, to be honest. My husband's not here next to me.
Yeah. But you know what? You got me and John, not Dave. So you're like, Dave's scary, isn't he?
I think he was pretty,
Yeah, I know.
nice.
I'm joking. We just got to give him a hard time. He's the best.
No, he's great.
All right. So you've got a work-related question for
Yes.
John and I. What's up?
Okay. I have been living in a country for over 9 years, and my work background is in supply chain.
Okay.
So in the past 10 months, I started reevaluating my work situation. I have been working as a paralegal, but now I want to go back to my supply chain field. That's my dream job. It's have always been. And I started to get requalified to stand out a little bit, but I still have found a lot of struggle to even find entry-level jobs positions. I have been recruiter and some interviews in person, over the phone, or Zoom, and still have a really hard time. People still give me a hard time for the gap that I have been working my field and be doing something totally different between all those years. And yeah, that's my really concern. I don't know what else can I do to stand out?
Okay, so just to make sure I understand, you are getting real feedback that you've had did you say 9-year gap
Yes.
between when you've been in supply chain?
Yes.
And yet you've also gotten some recent qualifications and
Yes.
some certifications that make you current.
Exactly.
Okay. How many interviews have you been on where you've had at least a face-to-face, whether it would be Zoom or in person, where they've given you that feedback that the gap is too much?
Okay, the gap, they took a couple interview over the phone. Others was more in person and over the Zoom, and they still like say like, oh, why you like so long this time here, and say I feel so they are wasting my time as well, because they instead, okay, if you give me an opportunity to be in person. Why don't let me stand up and show that I have the skills and mindset to move forward, but still don't even give me a feedback to say, okay, what's not working here.
Gotcha.
So.
How many of those interviews that you've gotten have you had a personal connection, maybe where they knew you through somebody else or they knew you directly? Have any of those been the case?
0.
All right, that's our new strategy. All right, so first of all, you're not done anything wrong. Okay. Secondly, I wouldn't take too much from that feedback, okay? Because here's the reality. Whether you've been out 19 years or 9 years, okay, and you're a supply chain expert, you know what that work involves. The fact of the matter is you didn't forget how to do it in that 9 years' time.
No.
All right? I would also guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, that a successful person in supply chain and logistics, you're using a lot of those same skills and experience as a paralegal, I would guess.
Yes.
Details
are very orientated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. I just would not be discouraged, and I know it's discouraging, but I don't think it's personal. I think you're getting a lot of corporate speak. They didn't select you for whatever reason. And so what you've got to do is in order to get back in, I've got to change my strategy. And I wrote an entire book on this. I'm going to give it to you after the question. We'll come out on the break and give it to you. It's called the Proximity Principle. And here's what it says. In order to do what I want to do, supply chain work, I've got to start hanging around, being around people that are in that business, that type of work. And I got to get in places where that kind of work is happening, right? So maybe that's groups and forums and things like that online where people are supply chain leaders and they're looking for talent and there's all these best practices going on. There's a community for everything. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
There's a community for everything. Find it. Secondly, we start looking at companies in your area. Where are you from?
Hudson, Massachusetts.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we start going, okay, where are the supply chain companies and jobs? Where are those at? All right, now, so I start looking at targets, maybe even places that you've applied to but you haven't gotten hired. This time, we're looking for that one-to-one connection or 1, 2, or 3 connections, meaning if I don't know someone, if I don't know John who works over at company ABC where John could take my resume, and not just take my resume, but say, I've known Ken for X amount of time. He was out for 9 years. Here's why. He's back in. He's a really great guy. I think he's somebody we really need to look at. Do you see how that's a whole different ballgame?
Yes.
It's relational credibility. And to get back in, that's what we need here, so that there's a perception of you before you ever step into the interview, that you're somebody that has credibility through relationship. And now all of a sudden, you got the upper hand. Does that make sense?
It does.
That's what we've got to do right now. You can get back in, but you're up to date on all your certifications. You're up to date on everything. So this is relationship. So who do I know that works over here, or who do I know that knows somebody? So you're shaking the tree. All right? When I was a little kid, we used to go to a farm in Michigan where my grandfather lived, and he had an apple tree, and he'd go, all right, boys, go get the apples. And we were just tall enough to grab the lower branches, and he'd say, just shake. This is the idea. We're shaking the apple tree to get as many opportunities through relationships that are connected to the jobs we want. Okay? John?
Oh, you look defeated.
Sure.
Why are you defeated?
I feel like it's really hard for me to prove that I'm worth it. You know, I listen to your show as well. Like, it's hard because I studied a lot in Brazil.
Yeah.
I have a lot of work background, like qualification. Got here and I started doing odd jobs just to survive and help my family get out of that. And now I really want to go back to my field, and I feel like my time is kicking, and I'm wasting so much time. Just it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. So, one of my most important mentors is a guy named Gustavo. Okay, and Gustavo came to the United States. He married a missionary, came to the United States, and had $200 in his pocket and an old Ford pickup. And he was an engineer. in a South American country. And the U.S. wouldn't recognize his engineering degree, and he had to feed his family, so he ended up sweeping the floor at a cotton gin in West Texas, okay? And he got so fed up, he started changing people's oil in their driveway. He was a lovely guy, and I met you, and you're a lovely human being. You just exude joy, right? You're somebody I want to hang out with, right? And he turned that mobile oil change business into a juggernaut. Yeah. And he was a time machine for me and my family. You know what he gave me? Time with my son that I couldn't buy. Here's why I tell you that. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people may not give you another chance. Or you're going to have to, like Ken says, it's going to be 6 months of shaking that tree before an apple finally falls. You are too brilliant and you are so effusive in your joy. It just comes across in who you are. I would love to see you not outsource your worth to somebody, some HR representative at some nameless company. I'd rather you look in the mirror and say, I will provide value, regardless of whether they find it or they find it or they find it. Because eventually it's going to circle back, because that's who you are, right? Don't be beat up. And I know it sounds dumb, but don't. Let me say this: you got beat up. Don't be defeated. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so whether you got to start coming up with the arts and crafts thing, like I want to get back to the supply chain logistics, well, cool, then I'm just going to build my own freaking company.
Or, hey, let me add something. What if you go get an administrative position?
Get in the door.
That's way beneath you.
Get in the door.
But you're inside the company of it that has the supply chain jobs, and now all of a sudden they know you. Here's the only reason you haven't gotten hired. The people that were interviewing you didn't dig deep enough. Maybe they saw somebody else. Maybe it was easier. Has nothing to do with you. It's all about them. They're boneheads. Let me put this out to the audience. If you're anywhere near the Boston, Massachusetts area and you work at a supply chain company, will you call Ramsey Care?
You're not doing a bang-up job as it is, logistics people.
Yeah. We've got a great
candidate.
The
solution right here.
I'll write the recommendation letter. What's wrong with you people? Hey, you got this. Your time will come, but you got to keep at it. Keep on keeping on. You hear me? You're amazing. It's going to work out. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to the Ramsey Show, America. I'm Ken Coleman. He's Dr. John Deloney. We're thrilled to be with you. 888-825-5225 is the phone number. 888-825-52. Thank you, John. John's reminding me of something. I was getting there, I promise. I'll finish the number, though. 888-825-5225. Our scripture of the day: show yourself in all respects to be model of good works, and in your teaching show integrity, dignity. That's Titus 2:7. And our quote of the day from George Foreman: the fighter who gives their all will be around next year. Don't save anything. Give it all you got. Begs the question, John. Have you ever cooked on a George Foreman grill?
Absolutely.
So Stacy made me get rid of it.
What?
I loved it. Our first 2 years of marriage.
Lived on the Foreman grill.
Dude, that thing was amazing how quick it was. Got all the grease out when you're cooking burgers and stuff. Yeah, she thought it was kind of like, really? And I was like, I think it's fantastic.
It's one of the great Office episodes of all time, too. When he steps on the grill.
So true.
Legend.
Oh, it's so good. Bernie is up next in San Francisco, California. Bernie, how can we help?
Hey, fellas. It's good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. How can we help?
Yeah, so long story short, I'm on baby step 5 here, and I'm just really unenthusiastic about it. Like,
what makes you unenthusiastic about it?
Excited for the future. It's just like, I guess having kids. Do you think everyone should do that, or at least save for it? It just seems like a lot of lacking peace.
I'm sorry.
Money.
Do you have kids?
Oh, I don't.
Oh.
Are you asking us if you should have kids?
Oh, I'm asking if I should do step 5. Right now I'm 23. And
since you don't have, okay, that's what I was wondering. So,
oh yes, kids will take all your money, and they're loud, and they pee everywhere.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
And they're
It
incredible.
seems like the return on investment is not great.
They're not an investment, brother. But hey, you're 23, and the fact that you're asking that question says don't have kids anytime soon.
Yeah,
you're good.
Sure.
I mean, is that John's? I think John's nailed it. You're not thinking about kids anytime soon. Is that right, Bernie?
Dude, no.
Yeah. Don't save for college for kids that you may or may not have.
Yeah.
You're not there yet.
Yeah, keep on trucking. Do you own a home?
That was the other thing. So instead, should I start saving for a down payment on a home?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's kind of far off too.
100%.
Absolutely. Now that for sure. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I mean, what else would you be doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing.
You're not going to put it in a coffee can and bury it in your backyard.
Hey, you're not uninspired with money. You're uninspired just with life. What are you doing?
I think I do a lot of volunteering stuff, actually with students.
That's not what I'm asking.
Stuff.
You're miserable. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you choosing a life of misery, of an uninspired life? Why are you choosing that?
You know, I've never really thought of it that way. Life is kind of peaceful right now, actually.
Yeah, I don't think he's miserable, John.
Are you not? You feel good, Bernie?
Yeah, feeling good.
He volunteers?
In terms of, I'm sorry?
You volunteer, you give back, you're disciplined with money, but I think John is onto something. I mean, I just don't think at 23 you've got a grand vision for your life yet. Is that fair?
I think that's accurate. Like, what am I doing here?
I think
I asked myself that this morning, man. That's just the question. But
yeah.
What are you doing here?
I don't know. Like, if I look at my long-term future, I really kind of just want to keep volunteering. Like, I really like working with those students.
What warms your heart? Why do you keep volunteering with kids? What's driving that?
Yeah, I work with high school age kids, so they're at a point where they're figuring out, like, what do I do after high school? Do I go to college? Do I not? Like, all that type of stuff. And so seeing like success or at least peace brought into their life, and if I can contribute to that peace, it just makes me really happy.
Yeah, but I think it's deeper than that. Because you're a guy that doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, so it's not like you're imparting tremendous wisdom to those kids.
What are you coaching them on?
I think there's something deeper there, Bernie, and I think even more beautiful. What is it about spending time with those kiddos that fires you up? Go deeper.
I don't know, man.
You do. You know.
They funny things. And
yeah, but
they make me happy. And
take me back to a moment recently, last time you volunteered, that when you walked back to your car and got in the car and drove wherever you drove, you thought about that moment, that interaction. Can you think of one of those?
Yeah.
Describe it to John and I.
Yes, I just had a kid. His father passed away, and so we all went to the funeral. And I just remember like how seeing how hard it was for them. I guess just being there, I didn't have to say much. It was enough to just kind of give a hug and be present for others.
Yeah, it's the single greatest gift you can give somebody, which is your presence, right? Your time. It's incredible. Who did that for you? Somebody modeled this for you.
When I was in high school, it's through church, just for context.
Okay.
So a lot of those same mentors would come out from me in that kind of way.
Can I tell you that I think a part of your grand vision, and I don't want to put any pressure on this statement. This is just me hearing what I heard. And John, tell me if I'm not hearing because John's very insightful on this. I hear a guy who you need to, whether it's volunteer or ministry time, a huge portion of your future life is in a role where you are just there for people. I'm keeping that broad on purpose because I don't want to, in the emotion of the moment,
where you're a chaplain or a therapist or like you show up.
It could be very broad.
Right.
But I think your professional future is in that area. I think you have a huge heart for people, and I'm going to take a guess that you're really good with people. Is that true or false? Tell me where I'm off.
I think everything you said is accurate. In my day-to-day work, it's in software, so I really don't help anyone or the world, if you will. So, yeah.
Well, okay, now hold on.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do, because the software that you are involved in has a positive effect on people somewhere, somehow. True or false?
That's true.
All right, so don't say that again. But I will say this as a challenge.
Sure.
I think you've got to be in the people workspace. I think working with people is your jam.
It does.
I think that's important because I think your soul will slowly slip out of you if you are not interacting with people. I'm going to say 75% of the day. I think you are good with people, and I think you want to work with people. I think it fires your soul up. So there's a broad spectrum here: coaching, teaching, instructing, counseling. I mean, dude, this could be healthcare. This could be mental health. This could be educational. It could be in the business
sales.
space.
You could go sell stuff, products that change people's lives, and you get to develop relationships. It could be all over the place, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just want you to dream in that aspect. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the Get Clear career assessment that our team developed. I'm going to give this to you because I want you to take it. I want you to really focus in on what comes up on passion and mission. Passion is what you love to do, and mission is what motivates you. And I think we already know. I think acts of service fire your soul up. And so I think I've got a 3-part question that'll help you. And here I'm going to give you a homework assignment. Will you promise to do it?
Sure. I'll do it, sir.
All right, here's the deal. I want you to answer these 3 questions as many times as it takes. Maybe use a pencil so you can erase and keep doing it. Who are the people I most want to help? The second question, what is the problem or desire that those people have? Now, it's very important that you ask it that way. Sometimes it's problem-based with the people we want to help, and sometimes it's desire-based, right? So I've talked to people before that want to be a hairdresser. Why? They want to make women feel beautiful. So that's a desire. You could sell shoes, design clothing. So what is the problem those people have? Because you've already thought of the people. Now, the first question is, what is the problem I most want to solve? Who are the people I most want to help? What problem or desire do they have? And then the third question is, what are the solutions or what is the solution to that problem or desire that I most get excited about? Did you get those 3?
Yep, I wrote them down.
It's all the same question. I'm just having you ask it from a different perspective. And I think the answers to those questions are going to steer you in a really good direction. John?
And so your money is a reflection. Your money is a reflection of where you are and how you feel. So if your money's feeling uninspired, look in the mirror. Don't look at your dollars. Look in the mirror. Mm-hmm. And don't save money for kids yet, man. You're not quite there.
For sure.
You're not quite there yet.
Guy called to ask about baby step 5, and we just broke his future down. But he's a good dude.
Great
Anybody
guy,
that spends time with teenagers gets my vote for greatest person on the planet.
I love it. They're tough.
Good man. John Deloney, you're a good man. Thanks for hanging with me. And I want to thank James, Kelly, the entire team in the booth, and you, America, for listening and watching. This is The Ramsey Show.
Dave here. We just launched a brand new audience survey for The Ramsey Show, and we'd love your feedback. You could be entered to win a $500 Visa gift card. No purchase necessary. Take the survey at RamseySolutions.com/survey.